Hello and welcome to the first video in a series of C# tutorials. This one is going to be about classes, so I'm going to explain a little bit about what they are and how I think about them. If you want to follow along, you can go to the Microsoft website and download Visual Studio. There's a community edition which you can get for free. Once you've downloaded that, you'll be greeted with this screen. I'm going to create a new project. Choose console app. I'm gonna call it classes1. You can call it whatever you like though. I'm going to be using .NET 6, which is in long-term support at the moment, and then gonna create that. And this is the screen that you'll be presented with once it's created the project. Just gonna zoom in so you can see that a bit better. I'm going to click classes1, which is the name of the solution up the top here, to check that it all works, and it should just print out hello world on the console, which is opened up on the other screen, and we get hello world, so we're good to go. So a class is it's just a collection of related methods and properties, and if that doesn't make any sense, I'm going to do a demo in a moment. But an alternative way to think about them is you've got normal data types like a string, int, float, all those sort of data types. But if you had a data type for a plane, obviously there isn't one of those built in. So you could use a class to define what a plane could look like. So in that sense, they are a custom data type. Okay, hope that makes sense. So on the right, going to right click, and we're going to add class. And down at the bottom, I'm going to call it plane.cs. You don't need that CS if you don't want. So it's created this plane class for us. We're just going to change internal to public for now. We don't need to worry about other accessibilities at the moment. We've got some unused using statements at the top. So I'm just going to do control dot, and it suggests remove unnecessary usings. So I'm going to click that one. So in a plane, some of the properties or things that you would use to define it, you might have a name. So I'm going to use also properties here. So you type prop and then hit tab twice. The data type would be a string. Going to call it name, and I'm going to set the value to Typhoon. So that's good. I'm going to save that and then go back to our program. Get rid of this hello world. So we've got our new data type, the plane data type, and to use that, you can use var, which is basically tells C# to work out the type on its own, and then you want to give your variable a name. So I'm going to call it plane, and you want to say new plane. So this bit is saying create me a new instance of the plane class, and the class is the object. And then because we know our plane class has a name property, we can do plane, that's not what I want, plane dot, and one of the suggestions it gives us is name, so we can do that. And if we run this, it's going to print Typhoon to the console. Again, that's on the other screen. So we get Typhoon as we expected. We can add a few more properties to it, and again prop, then hit tab twice. I'm going to leave this one as an integer missile count. I'm going to set that to 4. Have another one which is going to be a double, and there's going to be range miles. I'm going to set that to 300. So now all of these properties can be accessed in the instance of our plane class. So as well as the name, we can print out the missile count and what was the other one? And range miles. And then if we run this, it's going to give us Typhoon 4 and then 250 or 300. So currently all of these properties have been public at the front. If I change one of them to be private, that means that only methods within this class can access the missile count property. So back where we're calling it, it's giving us an error saying planes.missile count is inaccessible due to its protection level, and that's because I changed the word public to private. So that's a way to control what external classes can see and use different properties in your class. So I'll put that back to public. Okay, so as well as properties, we can define methods. So I'm going to write one for fire missiles. Going to have public, which is the access modifier, void, which means it's not going to be returning anything, and then the name of this is fire missiles. So before we want to fire missiles, we want to check that we've got some missiles. So we can say if missile count is greater than 0, I'm just going to simulate some aiming and tell the user that, and then I'm going to simulate some time passing to make it look like it's actually aiming. So I'm going to do thread.sleep, and then it wants the number of milliseconds to wait, so I'm going to put 5,000, so it takes about 5 seconds to aim, which seems reasonable. And then after that we're going to say missile fired, and then create a new line, which is what the \n does. So that's if you've got more than 0 missile counts. What about if you've got less than 0? So we're going to have an else block, and for that we're just going to say that there are no missiles remaining. I really can't type today. Okay, so you've got no missiles remaining, and because this is public, we can use this fire missiles method on our class instantiation back in main. So I'm going to do plane dot fire missiles. It doesn't take any parameters, so you can just end that line and then click run, and we're going to get Typhoon 4 and then the range in miles, which was 300, and then we're going to get that simulation of firing missiles. So aiming and then a 5-second gap, and then it's going to say missile fired, so that all works as expected. Although I have just realised if you fire a missile, you're not going to have 4 remaining. So we need to do missile count minus minus, which just means subtract 1. And then just to confirm that it works, I'm going to print out the missile count again. So we should have 4, then we fire 1, and then we're going to have 3. So aiming, wait 5 seconds, missile fired, and then 3. So yes, that's all working as we expected. And just to be clear, to make it crystal clear about the methods, I'm going to write another one in here called refuel. So public, again, it's going to be accessible everywhere. Void, it's not going to return anything. Cool. Oh, that's not how you spell. F-U-E-L. So we can say if the range remaining is less than 10 miles, we're going to refuel. Otherwise, we're going to say no need to refuel. So we're going to have much the same thing as what we had here. So instead of writing aiming, we're going to type refueling. We need to simulate some time passing as that happens. So you can do thread.sleep, and that's going to take 5 seconds as well. And then we're going to say that we are refueled. And then we need to set the range in miles back to 300 because we are fully refueled. So I can say plane dot refuel, and at the moment when we created our plane object, we have the range in miles set to 300 and we haven't reduced that anywhere at all. So when we run this, it's going to say there's no need to refuel. So yep, no need to refuel, so that works. I'm just going to comment this out so that we're not waiting ages. So to test the other part of the refuel method, we need to decrease the amount of fuel in the plane object. So that's plane.range miles equals, say we've got 5 miles left. So now if we do, what's going on today? Plane.refuel, and then to check that we've got the full tank of fuel as well, just going to print out the range again. So no need to refuel, which is what we got from when we tried to refuel when there was a full tank. Then refueling takes 5 seconds, and then it says refueled, and our range is back to 300 miles. So all is good in the world. So I think that's what I'm going to talk about for today. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for what you want to see, please put them in the comments below. And I hope you found this useful or learnt something. And if so, please like, share and subscribe. And thank you for watching.